Hello and welcome to Frank's School. It's kind of quiet, it's raining outside, people are still sleeping in the house. Roger's here and ready. So anyway, it's a good time to just teach this, I think. I want to introduce two videos. Now they're long videos, especially mine, which is the video. Shirley's is a slideshow, but they're quite long. So I don't want to talk too long about them. I mean, there's enough to see, there's plenty of time just watching them. Details of details of Viseu. Now, I want to say how to use this. If you were a teacher and you wanted to use Frank's School in your classroom, you might have trouble with the attention, possibly, with students on, especially on my video, which is so long. But it's about details, and you know, intellectual curiosity. If that's not a driving force with students, it's almost like a losing battle. If they're curious, I mean, there's lots to see, but still, how to use them practically? Well, this is geography. I mean, you could easily look up Viseu in Wikipedia, for example, or Google Earth. I mean, there's lots you could do. With Google Earth, you could look down at the very place where Shirley and I are wandering around and figure it out. I would think that would be fun. We're out of the city now. We're not in Lisbon. That, you know, I think I'd maybe said earlier, here comes another cat. Maybe we'll have a cat fight. She's a big... I go through cities only because I have to get from the countryside to the countryside. Well, Viseu is a city, but it's so much quieter. An older city, and of course a lot smaller too. And we're in the old part of the city in the morning. I'm reminded of cat shock, kilocalories as currency shock that I suffered from in Philadelphia and other places as well. Well, it's less now, because I'm out in the countryside. I'm away from the big cities that are such big consumers. Nonetheless, a city. The hotel was hard to find. It was very hard to find. I had to get out of the car and do my best, go into some stores and do my best to speak to them in Portuguese. At one point, I went in and, I mean, my Portuguese, I'd only been back in Portugal for like a day, and I was speaking German in the car. And I remember I went in and people were helpful to try to explain, how do you get there? And this one woman, she told me in Portuguese, she got to the end of it and she said, "Did you understand what I said?" And I said, "Yeah, I did understand. I understood. I just couldn't speak it." Well, anyway, we eventually found it. But and this was even with Shirley's Navi. I think that's the way you spell it, her navigator. I don't own one of those. Boy, it made the trip a lot easier. But it was still hard to find because the streets are so narrow, and well, anyway, you'll see. A couple other things to tell you about language. It was hard. I predicted that this was going to be hard for me to speak German in the car, to speak English when I'm filming, to speak Portuguese with the people in Portugal, and so often by the end of the day, my mind was just blown. Especially with German, I couldn't understand what Shirley was saying anymore, and I certainly couldn't speak it. But anyway, a lot of times it's kind of comical. Here's Suzanne. Come on, Suzanne. Don't block the camera. Come here, kitty. This is a big cat. At one point, there's an older lady in the street, and I was filming, you'll see, I was filming this old building because the old building said so much about architecture, this door and all this. And the jolly woman, she went along and she said to me, oh, I can't think what she said at first. I think she said in Portuguese, it's pretty, which I think she was sincere. And then later on she said, nobody lives there anymore. But what's funny is when I was speaking to her, at first I think I was okay. I was speaking Portuguese. But then I went into German, and sometimes I'd start a sentence off in... At the market I did that. I started a sentence off in Portuguese and then went into German and didn't realize I'd done it. Anyway, it's funny if you listen. If you listen and analyze that, it might say something about a struggling brain. And stonework. This is so much about stonework. I begin to get impressed with the granite cat. I begin to get impressed with the granite, solid granite, and I see some more later on, and I film it again and again and again because I know how much work that is. And this is details. I mean, that's sort of the nature of my video, my filming. I film details, things that maybe other people might not think to look at. Well, this has already been a little bit longer than I thought I was going to be, but you know, I hope it's not too long for you. Anyway, this is Viseu. Just in passing, it was not a primary destination, but there we stayed the night, and so before we went on our way, we looked around the city. Okay, I hope you can enjoy it. See you tomorrow.